won't tell you a story about a woman I know. When it comes to loving, she steals the show. She ain't exactly pretty, and exactly small. And exactly for this reason, she thought nobody loved her. Not only that, she also thought that nobody was ever gonna love her. This woman, her name is Rosie, thought she was ugly. And please, let me say it, she wasn't far away from the truth. But in fact, she didn't used to spend all her time staring at the mirror and saying, "Oh my God, I'm so damn ugly." She just didn't expect anybody to be in love with her. But, and this is the turning point of the story, somebody was. This guy, let's call him Angus, was madly in love with her. Okay, now there's the romantic part of the story, but I'll try to keep it short, I promise. Angus didn't believe that anybody felt the way he did about Rosie. And, well, he was right, because let me remind you that is Rosie. So he started courting her, asking her out, inviting her to wonderful dinners at, I don't know. You, where did you take your girlfriend to have dinner on a date? Yep. McDonald's? Perfect. For 1 year, they had a lot of romantic dinners at McDonald's. The problem, as I was saying, was that Rosie didn't understand that Angus was in love with her. She just used to think, "Oh, what a nice guy, he always offers the dinner. He must be son of Ronald McDonald." For 1 year. Then something happened. The only moment Rosie realized that Angus was in love with her was when he asked her, "Rosie, I love you. Would you marry me?" Then she understood everything. And she thought, "Oh, what a fool I've been. How couldn't I see it for all this time? He clearly isn't son of Ronald McDonald. I mean, clowns can't have any baby. Everybody knows it." Then she also realized that she loved Angus too. Okay, let's put a cliffhanger right here. Do you remember the exact words I started my talk with? "I won't tell you a story about a woman I know. When it comes to loving, she steals the show. She ain't exactly pretty and exactly small." Well, these words are the exact opening lines of a song by AC/DC, "Holalotta Rosie," written by Angus Young. And that gigantic woman I showed you was an inflatable doll that AC/DC used to drop from the stage in concerts while singing "Holalotta Rosie." Then I invented the story. You know, I think that Rosie's story is a perfect metaphor of how stories work. Rosie didn't realize that she was in love with Angus until he asked her to marry him. Until the end, she was blind. For 1 year, they went to McDonald's together, and that surely helped a lot. I mean, I would fall in love too if somebody took me at McDonald's. But she didn't understand anything until the end. Well, a story works exactly like this. The storyteller is taking us somewhere, but we don't know the final destination until we arrive there. Until the end, we have no clue of how the story will end up. Yeah, okay, maybe if the story is banal, or if the storyteller isn't very good, we can guess it. But we can't be sure until we arrive there and we see it with our own eyes. Yeah, again, when we watch The Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson, we know that in the end, spoiler alert, the protagonist is gonna die. But we have to arrive there. Only at the end can we sort of stop and ask ourselves, hey, how did we get here? Every story is like a path, and we have to walk down it hand in hand with the storyteller. Holalotta Rosie is a great song. AC/DC is a great band, and I think music is a great way to tell stories. But there are a lot of forms of storytelling, a lot of means we can use. Cinema, for example, is one of my favorite. There are certain films, such as The Matrix, that tell stories nearly deep as Shakespearean plays. Comics, you know, are another way we can use to tell stories. Just think of Sin City, the neo-noir series by Frank Miller. That isn't only a matter of drawings and writings. That is a matter of stories. And we can be sure that all these are stories because every one of them is a sequence of facts. In the same way, all the small parts of this sequence have a name and a purpose. This is the story arc. Usually, stories have one of these. First of all, there's the exposition, the first part of the sequence that shows us the situation. Then there is an inciting incident that makes the rising action start. In Rosie's story, we have the inciting incident when we discover that Angus is in love with Rosie. At a certain point of the rising action, there's usually a crisis, followed by the climax, the point of highest tension. And this is when Angus asks Rosie to marry him. After the climax, the following action starts. Finally, there is the resolution. The resolution doesn't need to be a happy ending. It just needs to be an ending. And this doesn't mean that every story needs to work like this. But if there are these elements, then there is a story. What I really want to say to you today is that in every form of storytelling, where we're talking about songs, books, plays, or anything else, the resolution is always at the end of the story arc. And this is because we arrive there all through the narration. Before that, we can only be guided by the storyteller. Even if, like Rosie, we have already fallen in love, we can't know it yet. So if we want to, and we want to, we can say that a story is a little bit like a courtship. Only at the end can we sort of connect the dots. Because, this is what all my speech is about. It is the sequence of the scenes to make a plot, a story. It is the sequence of the dinners at McDonald's to make a courtship. Without each of the scenes, we couldn't reach the resolution. And this doesn't only work well with stories, it's also perfect to talk pretty much about everything in life. A wise person once told me that life is like a pearl necklace. We can't see all the necklace, we can only see each pearl as it slips in the string. Then, of course, it is the sequence of the pearls to make a necklace, but we can see all the necklace only at the end, when every pearl is already slipped in the string. Without the previous pearl, there never would have been the next one. So when we slip the pearls in our string, we have to remind that the pearl we slip today will change the pearl we can slip tomorrow. It's up to you. Ernest Hemingway said it in a wonderful way. Today is only one day in all the days that will ever be. But what will happen in all the other days that ever come can depend on what you do today. Okay, I think that now we should come back to Rosie and Angus because we left them on a very bad cliffhanger. The only moment Rosie realized that she was in love with Angus was when he asked her, "Rosie, I love you. Would you marry me?" She said, "Yes, I want." So they got married. They moved to France, and they had a lot of little ACDCs. And this is what we call resolution, the end of the story. But we couldn't arrive here without all the other parts of the story arc. This is why I love stories. In every moment of our lives, we should be aware of what we're doing with our pearl necklace. Life is our story arc. Because, from a love romance to another AC/DC song, stories are a voyage. So let's enjoy the trip. And everything in this voyage is just a sequence of our greatest memories. Just like a courtship is a sequence of dinners at McDonald's, and a constellation is just a sequence of stars. Thank you very much.